The Pentagon briefing room was designed to intimidate. High ceilings, polished marble floors, and walls lined with portraits of men who had shaped American military history. Major Alexandra Chen stood near the back corner, adjusting the collar of her army dress uniform. The room was filling with senior officers, colonels, generals, defense contractors in expensive suits. Alex had arrived early, as she always did. She'd grabbed a cup of coffee from the refreshment table and noticed the pot was nearly empty. Without thinking, she refilled it. Old habits from forward operating bases where everyone pitched in. She was pouring a fresh cup when she heard the voice behind her. "Excuse me, miss. This area is restricted to briefing participants only." Alex turned to find an Air Force captain, maybe 30 years old, with the kind of pristine uniform that suggested he'd never been anywhere more dangerous than a climate-controlled office. His name tag read Morrison. "I understand, Captain." Alex's voice was calm. "I'm here for the briefing." Morrison's eyes traveled over her, lingering on the coffee cup in her hand. His mind made the calculation that men like him always made. She must be support staff. Maybe someone's assistant. "Ma'am, I think there's been a misunderstanding. This briefing is for senior military strategists and combat veterans only. If you're looking for the administrative offices, they're down the hall." Alex set her coffee cup down carefully. "Captain Morrison, I'm Major Chen. I'm assigned to this briefing as the primary tactical consultant on Middle East operations." Morrison's confidence increased. He pulled out his phone, scrolling through a roster. "I have the attendance list right here. Major Chen is listed, but there must be some confusion. The Major Chen on this list is a special operations officer with combat experience." He gestured at her. "No offense, ma'am, but you don't exactly fit that profile." Alex felt the familiar weight settle on her shoulders. The weight of having to prove herself again. "Captain, I am Major Alexandra Chen. My service record speaks for itself." Morrison held up a hand. "Look, this briefing deals with highly classified combat operations, Tier 1 units, special reconnaissance, direct action missions. Unless you've personally led operations in hostile territory, you shouldn't be here." Behind Morrison, other officers were beginning to notice. Alex reached into her pocket and produced her common access card. She held it out. "My credentials, Captain." Morrison took the card, scanned it, and confusion flickered across his face. But instead of accepting reality, his mind found a different explanation. "This says you're assigned to USASOC. Special Operations Command has a lot of support roles. Intelligence analysis, logistics coordination. Just because you're assigned to SOCOM doesn't mean you're an operator." The accusation hung in the air. He was suggesting her assignment was administrative. "Captain Morrison, I suggest you verify my record through proper channels. I'm looking at your record right now." Morrison pulled out his phone again. "Says here you're assigned to a training command, which confirms my point. You're an instructor, support staff, not a combat veteran." The room had gone quiet. Other officers were openly watching. That's when a Marine Corps lieutenant colonel stepped forward. His name tag read Phillips. His uniform carried combat decorations. Combat Action Ribbon, Purple Heart, Navy Cross. "Captain Morrison," Phillips said quietly, "I think you should stop talking." Morrison turned, annoyed. "Sir," with respect, "I'm ensuring briefing security. She has proper credentials." Phillips cut him off. "I know Major Chen. I know what she's done. And if you had the clearance to access her full service record, you'd know why she's here." Morrison's face flushed. "I have top secret clearance, sir." "Then you're looking at the wrong file." Phillips pulled out his phone and held it up. "What you're seeing is her cover assignment, her public record, the one that keeps her actual operations classified." Morrison stared at the phone, his certainty beginning to crack. "I mean that Major Chen's real record is classified at a level above your clearance." Phillips's voice was quiet, but everyone listened. "What you're seeing is what we want people to see. A training officer, someone unremarkable." Morrison's face went pale. "Major Chen isn't here to get coffee, Captain. She's here because 2 weeks ago she led a direct action raid into Syria that eliminated 3 high-value targets and recovered classified intelligence. The operation you're about to be briefed on? She planned it, led it, and executed it." The silence was absolute. Morrison looked like he'd been struck. Before anyone could respond, the main doors opened. Every officer snapped to attention. Standing in the doorway was Lieutenant General Raymond Harris, 3 stars gleaming on his shoulders. Harris's eyes swept the room, reading the atmosphere instantly. "As you were," he said. His gaze settled on Alex. "Major Chen. Glad you could make it." "Sir, thank you for the invitation." Harris walked to the tactical display. "Ladies and gentlemen, we're here to discuss Operation Silent Thunder, a direct action mission conducted 2 weeks ago in eastern Syria." He gestured to Alex. "Major Chen led that mission. She's here to brief you on the tactical execution." The room contracted. Every eye turned to Alex. Morrison looked like he wanted to disappear. "For those of you who don't know Major Chen's background, let me provide context." Harris pulled out a notebook. 12 years of service, 8 deployments, 147 combat missions. Expert in close-quarters combat and direct action operations. He looked up. She's completed Ranger School, Special Forces Qualification course, and spent 3 years attached to Delta Force as one of the few female operators integrated into Tier 1 units. Morrison had gone gray. He was still holding Alex's CAC card. "Her call sign is Ghost," Harris continued, and the name echoed in the silent room. "Because she has a habit of appearing in places the enemy thinks are secure and disappearing before they understand what happened. The Syrian mission had 0 casualties on our side and 100% success on objectives." Harris looked directly at Morrison. "Captain, I believe you're holding Major Chen's identification card." Morrison moved like a man in a dream, holding out the card. Alex took it without comment. "Sir," Morrison's voice cracked, I thought—" "You thought wrong," Harris cut him off. "You made an assumption based on appearance rather than evidence. You dismissed credentials and questioned the qualifications of one of this nation's most decorated special operations officers because she didn't match your mental picture." Harris turned to the room. "This military succeeds because we judge people on their capabilities and record, not on gender, appearance, or any other irrelevant factor." He gestured to the chairs. "Everyone take your seats. Major Chen, begin the briefing." Alex moved to the front with calm precision. She connected her laptop and the tactical display lit up with satellite imagery. Operation Silent Thunder was a direct action raid targeting a high-value ISIS commander. The compound was heavily fortified in a dense urban area with civilians on 3 sides. She clicked through slides. Our approach was a night helicopter insertion, landing 3 kilometers from target. We conducted a 4-hour foot movement through the city, neutralizing 2 guard positions silently. Morrison sat at the far end, trying to become invisible. The assault lasted 7 minutes. We secured the target and recovered hard drives containing operational plans for attacks in 3 countries. She paused. 0 civilian casualties. 0 friendly casualties. Complete tactical success. She showed the recovered intelligence. "This is what we found. Communications between ISIS cells we didn't know existed, financial records, and planned attacks, including 3 scheduled for next month. We've already disrupted 2 of those cells." General Harris nodded. "Major Chen's team prevented attacks that would have killed hundreds. This intelligence is why we're restructuring our counter-terrorism approach." The briefing continued for 30 minutes. Alex answered questions from colonels and generals with calm professionalism. When she finished, Harris stood. "Excellent work, Major, as always." The room emptied slowly. Several officers stopped to shake Alex's hand. Phillips approached. "Major, I'm sorry about Morrison. He's new to the Pentagon." Alex smiled slightly. "It's fine, Colonel. I've dealt with worse." Alex was packing up when Morrison approached, his face pale. "Major Chen," he began. "Ma'am, I don't know how to apologize. There's no excuse. I disrespected not just you, but your service and sacrifices." Alex looked at him. "Captain Morrison, do you know why my record looks the way it does? Why so much is classified?" He shook his head. "Because the missions I run work better when people don't see me coming. When the enemy thinks I'm support staff or just someone who doesn't belong." Alex's voice was quiet but firm. "Your assumptions today? They're exactly what keep me alive in the field." Morrison absorbed this. So your cover isn't just administrative, it's operational. Everything about me is operational, Captain. My appearance, my records, how people perceive me. She paused. But here's the difference. In the field, those assumptions protect me. In the Pentagon, they're just bias, and bias gets people killed. How do I fix this? You see the person, not your assumption. You look at credentials before jumping to conclusions. You remember that the uniform doesn't change because the person wearing it doesn't match your mental picture. Alex picked up her case. One more thing, Captain. The next time you see someone serving coffee at a briefing, consider they're doing it because they're a good teammate, not because it's their job. Some of the most dangerous people I know would happily make coffee for their team. It's called humility. And with that, she left. 3 days later, General Harris called Alex into his office. Major Chen, I wanted to personally apologize for the incident. Captain Morrison's behavior was unacceptable. Sir, with respect, Captain Morrison is young. He made a mistake. He seems genuinely remorseful. He is. Harris leaned back. But remorse isn't enough. I'm reassigning him to a joint task force where he'll work directly with female operators from all service branches. That seems fair, sir. I also wanted to discuss your next assignment. Harris opened a file. We have a training program starting at Fort Bragg. Advanced Special Operations Techniques for female soldiers entering combat roles. We need someone to lead it. Alex understood. You want me to train the next generation. I want you to prepare them for everything they'll face, including people like Morrison. Harris met her eyes. You've proven you can operate at the highest levels. Now share that knowledge. I'm honored, sir. There's one more thing. Harris pulled out another document. The Distinguished Service Cross. Your recommendation has been approved. Alex felt tightness in her chest. Sir, the Syrian mission was a team effort. Everyone will get recognition. But you led that team. Harris's voice was firm. You've earned this, Major. Yes, sir. Thank you, sir. The ceremony took place 4 weeks later. General Harris read the citation, describing the mission in terms that honored Alex's courage without compromising security. After the ceremony, Phillips found her. Congratulations, Ghost. Well deserved. Thank you, Colonel. You know, Morrison's been asking about you. Wants to know how you made it through Delta selection. Phillips grinned. I think you scared him straight. He's become one of the biggest advocates for gender-integrated units. That's good to hear. You changed him, Ghost. Maybe that's your most important mission yet. Alex considered this. Maybe. But I'd still rather be in the field. Phillips laughed. That's what makes you good at what you do. That evening, Alex sat in her apartment, reviewing the training curriculum for Fort Bragg. The next generation deserved better than what she'd faced. They deserved to enter a system that saw them for their capabilities first. She'd make sure of it. Because Major Alexandra Chen, call sign Ghost, had learned something in 12 years of service. The hardest battles weren't always fought with weapons. Sometimes they were fought with patience, with grace, with quiet determination to prove yourself until the system evolved. Morrison had called her Miss and assumed she was lost. General Harris had called her Ghost and trusted her to brief the Pentagon's senior leaders. The difference between those two moments was everything. And Alex would spend the rest of her career making sure that difference became smaller. One mission, one briefing, one training session at a time. The next time someone saw her serving coffee, maybe they'd look twice. Maybe they'd see the wings she'd earned, the battles she'd fought, the sacrifices she'd made. Or maybe they wouldn't. And that was fine. Because Ghost had learned to operate in shadows, to be underestimated, to use assumptions as camouflage. But when the moment came, when lives depended on it, being underestimated was the greatest tactical advantage of all. The general had used her call sign, and the room had frozen. Because in that moment, everyone understood. The woman serving coffee wasn't who they thought she was. She was Ghost. And ghosts were only invisible until they decided to be seen.